Today I'm going to discuss what does it take to be a great 21st century leader. First, I'm going to talk about the TED Talk where Torres discusses the answers to this question. And second, I'm going to talk about what in the texts do I think are important to answer this question. Okay, so Torres tries to answer this question or TED Talk by having you ask yourself 3 questions, which I think are all good questions to ask yourself if you are wanting to be an effective leader in this day and age. The first question that she asks is, what are you looking to anticipate the next change to your business model or your life? And to answer this question, she says you need to look at your calendar and see who you're surrounding yourself with, what you're doing in your spare time, and that should help you answer that question. Her second question is, what is the diversity measure of your personal and professional stakeholder network? So basically, who are you comfortable with? And she says to be an effective leader, you need to diversify who you hang out with and what you do. The third and final question that she asks you to ask yourself is, are you courageous enough to abandon a practice that has made you successful in the past? She says this is important because the same things won't always work for you. Times change and great leaders dare to be different, and that's what makes them successful. So I think that a person aspiring to be a leader should ask themselves these questions and see what changes that they can make to become a more effective leader. We've covered a lot in this class, and after looking back at the topics we've discussed, I picked a few that I believe are the most important. Let me explain what they are. There are 3 topics I've pinpointed as important, and they are motivation, bullying, discrimination, and sexual harassment, and lastly, the different approaches to leadership. So first, I'm going to talk about motivation and why that's important. Obviously, as a leader, you not only need to be motivated yourself, but you need to be able to motivate your employees into doing things that you want them to do to be successful. So I think that overall, being able to motivate someone is what makes you a great leader, because then you get more stuff done and are more successful. Secondly, you might be wondering why I think that bullying and sexual harassment and discrimination are important to what makes a successful leader. And I think that it's important because if these things are happening in your work environment, you can't be a successful leader and your followers won't have as much respect for you. So I think it's important to educate yourself on what these 3 things are and how to create an environment that they aren't present in. If they are present, make sure that those who are feeling uncomfortable feel comfortable talking to you about them. So just make sure everyone knows it's not acceptable to have these 3 present in the workplace, because it just makes the entire morale lesser. The last thing that I think is important that we've discussed in this class is the different approaches to leadership, which the ones we discussed were the traits, style, situational, transformational, and discursive. And the reason I think these are important is because I think that knowing how you lead and the different ways there are to lead will make you more successful, because you know what will work for you, and then if you need to change it, what the different options are. So as you can see, the answer to this question is not as simple as you would think it would be. We covered the way Torres answers the question and what she thinks that people should look at themselves for if they want to be more successful in leadership. And then we ended with what concepts in the text I think answer this question. So I think that if you want to be a successful leader in this 21st century, it's important to look at a bunch of different aspects and to educate yourself on them to be as successful as you can be.